Thanks, guys.
Hey,
I usually have my microphone with me when I come out, so sorry.
Hey, man,
How about another round of applause for Louis?
No, wait, stop. What are you doing? No, stop. Hey.
You ate jacket!
Hey, stop it.
When I do it's nuts or nothing!
Go.
That was a little awkward. I think it's just time we just bring out our guests, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know them. Reagan Murdock, Ryan Colt Levy, and Sarah Wiedenheft. Did I say that right? I'm sorry. Wiedenheft. It's Wiedenheft. Sorry.
That's the best one yet.
I'm distracted by what happened backstage because I have no idea.
What are you talking about?
What happened?
You guys like this? I just went to the Men's Warehouse.
Yes.
Pick this up.
Look at his cool new jacket that he just bought.
There is something a little different. Something's happening.
Ignore the man behind Bowie.
He's behind me, isn't he?
Officer, I swear to drunk, I'm not a god.
I might have kicked him a little too hard.
Can I have my Colt back, please?
Back.
You know what? Fine. It's a little warm in here anyway.
You might be better off.
Thief! Thief! 'Tis his jacket.
Don't look at me.
That jacket is half our programming wardrobe, ladies and gentlemen. That's half our programming budget just for that wardrobe. Thank you guys so much for being here.
It's our pleasure.
This weekend. I know we see you oftentimes at other shows as such, but it's always great anytime you guys get to come into other cities and other areas, especially for people that are fans of the franchise, fans of the anime. Ryan, you and I had a little conversation yesterday that I revealed something to you. So full disclosure now to you two. I am completely new to anime. I've slept on it for so long, and the first anime I watched was Chainsaw Man.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
I was like, sorry we spoiled you right out the gate, man.
It's all downhill now from here. But I mean, I got drawn into it so quickly just because of how quirky and weird and awkward it could be at times, but there's still... It's funny, there's a ton of heart. There's so many elements to Chainsaw Man that make it what it is. So when it comes to that, like what drew you guys into it? Were you aware of the manga before it became the anime? Was it how new was it to you when you guys came into the characters and came in to voice the characters?
I actually I found it on a whim during the pandemic. So it was 2020. We were all like stuck going crazy inside, and I just saw it one day. I don't remember where online I saw it, but I saw the cover, and I couldn't tell you before that the last time that I had read a manga. It was probably like middle school, and I was just compelled because the cover was so insane looking, and the name was like so on the nose that I was like, this can't be real, and and from that first page, it was just so. It immediately shattered what I thought I was getting into, and it was so deep and beautiful and weird and funny and tragic. And before I knew it, I had read, the first like 4 volumes, and then I was like, well, I guess I'm in love with this thing. So at the time, all of part 1 was out, so like the first 11 volumes. So I just like annihilated them and read them over and over because there was just so much. Once I finished it, I was like, there's so much that I have to like go back and see the seeds of how it's all planted. And I talked about it with some of you that came to the table. It's when you watch a lot of movies, when you read a lot, when we're so used to so many tropes and so many things, and you think you know where something's going, and every time I flipped the page, it just would shock me and inspire me and make me like hungry to get to the next part of it. And I just fell deeply in love with it, and felt very protective of Denji because he's such a raw, real, visceral character, and I feel like he's so relatable to so many of us for a lot of different reasons. And there was an awareness immediately when I got the part that, so many people resonate with him and feel connected to just the human struggle that so many of the characters go through, and wanting to make sure that I was able to give him what he needed so that people felt seen when they heard it, and that's the tricky thing, because you can't make everybody happy and you don't know what other people are expecting in their heads. But when I read it, it was so clear who he was and how he needed to be treated. So I've been a fan from before the show, and I'm still reading it. I'm every Tuesday I open up the app and I am digesting within 2 minutes, and then I have to slowly read it again because I'm like, but I'm a fan first.
I'm kind of opposite. I knew basically nothing. Yeah, right. I knew basically nothing going into the auditions. The only thing I knew was this thing is going to be absolutely insane. I saw the cover and it was like Chainsaw Man, and I'm just like, is it a spin-off of that vending machine show or something?
I thought it was an isekai too.
Hey, see, there we go. But I started reading it, and like Ryan was saying, we're familiar with some of these shonen tropes, especially. And I start reading, and I see Aki come up, and I'm like, all right, Sasuke, there we go. But then, and I'm just like, well, I idolized those kinds of characters when I was a teenager because I thought they were all stoic and cool and everything. But really, what they needed was a swift kick in the hoo-haws to become a decent person. And then that happened, and I was like, go on.
And it happens early.
It happens early, right? It just lets you know immediately, this is not what you were expecting it to be at any point. I'm
sorry, I still love that.
Oh, she's still vivid. She's to this day so power. I also just completely fell in love with Aki. I related to him on a very deep personal level, which hopefully we'll get into a little bit more as the panel goes on. But for now, suffice to say, as somebody who really bottled up their emotions and didn't really know how to communicate or be vulnerable at that age, it was really, really nice to see a character who his strength comes later from the people that he allows into his life rather than the power and the aura farming he tries to do. I really enjoy that. So.
It was pretty similar. I thought it was an isekai, as I said earlier. Actually, the first time I heard about it was through Ryan. I had no idea what it was, too. And that's where I was like, must be some crazy, I died and became a Chainsaw Man. It was before that. I mean, it was that con, but you were talking about it beforehand.
So funny. I've blacked out how obsessively I talked about it.
like God, I really want it. I was just reading it. I'm like, God damn. I hope it comes your way, brother. I really do. I'm giving you all the energy. I remember seeing artwork of them online too. I remember looking on Etsy for stickers, and then I saw them pop up when I was looking up Dragon Maid or something. I'm like, why are they here? But I'm like, I remember seeing Powers design and be like, that's cute. Wonder what that's about. And then just wiped it away. It wasn't until the auditions came out that I actually started reading the manga so I could understand what was going on there. And I was like, oh, okay. That's way different. And it was actually really good. For the auditions, though, I didn't read it properly. I just went straight to the characters and read the lines from there. So I actually thought she was more feral than she is, if you can imagine that. But yeah, then I started reading it properly when I got cast. And what was first research became pleasure so quickly. I'm like, I can't digest this fast enough. And then I got to Aki's manga, and I actually put the book down, and I didn't pick it up again for the next day because I need to process. Such a good manga, though. I am so happy I got to be a part of it.
We talk about, obviously Denji, Aki, and Power having these three incredibly unique personalities. How do you prepare to bring those personalities into this when you guys are portraying them, doing the voice acting? Is it a lot of yourself that you're bringing to the character, or do you have to really put yourself out there to make it, something special and something different than who you are as a person?
I feel like it's already pretty clear to you guys that there's a lot of us in these characters already. There's definitely a weird kind of magic that happens if you're lucky, that the right things are waiting for you if you're ready for them. And I mean,
You got to open up your chakras.
yeah, it's all about the chakras. Big chakras.
We've been saying that for years.
While I, am also fully in the belief that like there's like 20 actors that I could name right now that I know that would be an amazing Denji. I know, like I said, when I opened that book, seeing Denji's predicament, I was living in a garage unit behind a house. I didn't have a kitchen. I had a hot plate on a wooden table. And I had to unplug my fridge because it was next to my booth anytime I wanted to record anything. Like, it was totally feral and chaotic. And when I read where Denji was at, I was like, oh, shit. Like, I really get this. I get where you're at, And I remember getting the phone call from Mike, and when he told me I got the part, and as I was like coming down from my hallucination, he was like, do you want to know who else is in the cast? And when he told me their names, I had such an emotional response because I've been really lucky to have gotten to work with them and know them in a capacity before getting that news. And like, while we were already, Reagan and I had worked on one project together. And we hadn't met each other yet because, they both live in Dallas and I'm in Los Angeles. And I remember the first time I recorded for another show we did called The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent. And we also play like a kind of duo where like I annoy the shit out of him. So it was really fitting.
Caitlin kind of called it
yeah,
before
she
Mike.
did. She totally did. But I remember going in to record for that show, and he had recorded first, and like his first whatever lines come out. And I was at home in my booth, but I remember just stopping and being like, "Who the fuck is that? They're so good."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, this is this new guy, Reagan, blah blah blah." And I was like, "He's amazing." And Sarah, I had met maybe like a year before that. We did, or no, it was after that because it was out of the pandemic already. But we had we did a panel together at a separate convention. We weren't working on anything together, but we immediately have what I call the idiot sibling energy, like instantly. And
It's not very usual to find like a quick friend like that too.
Yeah.
It's like immediately vibe. Okay,
It
cool.
was instant, like just instantly comfortable, could say anything to each other, just trusted each other deeply. And and we did a panel that weekend, and someone was like, "What's like a dream thing you'd like to work on?" I was like, I don't know. I don't really like to, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "Durr," and I'm like, Chainsaw Man?
He got Sarah sandwiched, but like
Yeah,
we both, Sarah and Natachini on the other side, we're both like elbowing him. Get it, say it.
Just say something. But needless to say, when I found out that it was going to be them, I knew not only that we were going to be great, but that I was going to be protected and challenged and supported and inspired. And like every single session I would go in to record, Mike would be sure to be like, "You got to hear the thing that Sarah did earlier. You got to hear what Reagan did." Like he would play us each other's scenes even if we weren't in them, because like he knew how much we loved each other. And like I remember one of our favorite stories is at the actual casting, because I think I might have we all got word around the same time, and I think I maybe like waited a day because I wanted to make sure everyone got the news. But I DM'd Reagan, and I didn't like you want to be safe about this stuff, so I didn't like.
For context, I did not know who else was in the cast. I didn't ask, and so Mike didn't tell me.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't realize that was. I didn't know I could.
Yeah,
ask.
I didn't know I could.
I didn't know I could ask.
And so,
Such an Aki thing.
so I just DM'd Reagan out of the blue, and I think it was just like some eyes, right?
It was
like
just some clapping emoji.
it was the clapping emoji. And he just, there was like a long wait, and then he just goes, "Thank you." And then there was like another wait, and I'm sitting on the other end, like just like in my apartment, just cracking up. And he's
Really?
like,
Wait.
and then I think I was like, "You're gonna be amazing in this" or something. And then he goes, "Wait,
How do you
then
know?
that can only mean one thing."
Dude, I was so happy when I found out it was you. Oh my god. I was just like, oh, thank goodness, an extrovert to be my shield. No, seriously, I knew you were gonna absolutely kill it. Yeah. No,
Well,
go on. Finish.
needless to say, and then I will let them answer this fucking question. But I think that like their energy bleeds so much into these characters and vice versa, and I don't think there's anybody better that could play them. So we're lucky.
Stop. Thank you.
Preparing for Aki was there was a lot of personal experience in there. So one thing that really struck me when I was first reading the manga for the audition was, of course, the iconic Fox Devil scene. He summons the Fox Devil, with a hand thing, and I was like, I want to play that character. But then in the next scene, it shows them in the hospital, and Aki is explaining how he summons the Fox Devil, and it's the price is to tear the skin of his forearm off of him. And I saw a teenager with that kind of mental headspace with a wound in that particular area, and that called some very specific images to mind, and that also it went further with the Curse Devil, who he's also contracted with the sword. Every time he uses it, his lifespan gets cut in half more and more and more. And it's like, somebody who doesn't expect to live past, whatever age, I get that. And then the Future Devil, he's gonna, it's like, all right, I'll show you, but I'm gonna show, I just want to have a front row seat because you're gonna die in the worst possible way. And I'm just like, the way that I think that I'm gonna die too? Great. Right. But it was, but it was because of that I felt like I really understood the character. Like he's a guy who feels like he's living on borrowed time. Like his life, he really doesn't value it at all. And one scene that really strikes me in particular is the graveyard scene when he meets Himeno for the first time, and she says, "You best not die on me, Aki." And I think that really struck me because that was probably the first time that anybody had said anything like that to him after his parents died. And I was kind of thinking, wouldn't it have been nice if someone had said that to me back then? And so that's why I wanted to play the character. It's one thing to, it's great to be part of this show that's really popular, great for my career, whatever. It's a whole nother thing to show people in that same situation I'm in, that I was in, that you're not alone, and I can't say anything about your particular situation because I don't know it, but it is possible to get through. You can see the other side of it, and sometimes you will find yourself in a place where you could not be happier to be alive.
Well, that hurt.
That
was
scene,
beautiful.
That flashback scene, I've told you, but genuinely, there are certain moments in the show that, regardless of how many times I've read it or seen it, because I'll show it to friends, and I don't watch a lot of the stuff that I'm in, but I just love this so much, and everyone's so good in it. But that scene when she's Himeno standing at the grave, she's not even looking at Aki, but she's like, "Could you actually be useful?" And he just says, "Yeah, sure." But the way that he says it is so devastating, and it makes me cry every time. And it is such a beautiful, genuine, real moment. And it's so good. We love you, buddy.
Love you too.
I don't really have anything as powerful to say about power, which is ironic. But
that's not true. I mean, you've talked about, especially her bond with Meowie and
with the cat. Well, yeah, when she was this Maui.
You're welcome.
I had a family cat. A cat that I loved very dearly that passed away, and I wasn't even there, and that hurts even harder. You're not even there for the event. And didn't even get to see her, and so I was able to channel that whenever that scene happened, where she finally connected with Denji too, which was heartbreaking. But other than that, she's a complete menace, and the worst little sister ever, and I have a lot of experience with that. So I get to do that, and that's really, really fun.
Her moving in sequence is still one of just the greatest
Oh my
things ever.
God.
Yeah.
I want to open it up to the audience. If anybody out there does have any questions for any of them, there is a microphone right here in the middle.
We do
Please,
bite.
Please, yeah. Not very hard, though, I don't believe. Please feel free to step up to the microphone to ask the question that you have. But in the meantime, I'm curious, when you go to cons like this and you see the reaction of the people who love and adore the show, what's it been like to see like that global reaction and hear about that when it comes to, how do you guys react when you hear about that reaction?
It's so cool. I mean, it really, I think we all knew this was special, and we all knew that it would find an audience. It was going to have its place, but I genuinely thought this was going to, be cool to, a very punk rock niche, kind of sect. And I guess, in a weird way, I underestimated just how much people really do not just, all over this community, but all over the world and even outside. I know so many people who don't even watch anime or read manga that have experienced this show that are like, yeah, that really resonate with it because it does touch on such deeply human ideas and it doesn't hide the dirty parts of it. It really makes you sit in it and it makes you think about your own life in really deep ways, and it's such a gift. So I while initially was really shocked that it has kind of exploded to the degree that it has, I've also now really come to understand, especially traveling and getting to meet so many of you, everyone is so deep and emotionally intelligent and layered and funny, and the conversations we have about these characters are so genuine, and you guys are so revealing about yourselves, and it's such a privilege to be able to we're vessels for this thing. We didn't write it. We didn't create these characters. We're lucky to experience this with you and get to play them, but this is a shared experience, and it's like a continuous gift. I'm still surprised, anytime we're out in public, and it's more and more as the show's getting more popular, I'll go to the gym and there's a dude in a Pochita t-shirt, or it's really, it's still, I get so excited whenever I see it out in the wild.
Same. My dad will take pictures of people he sees wearing the
Yeah.
shirt too. He's like,
My
"Can I
mom,
take a
back in New York, any store that she goes into, if she sees a Pochita or something,
Yeah.
I get a picture of her holding it. If she sees people wear, even if she just sees people out in the wild wearing an anime shirt,
Yeah.
she'll go out of their way to be like, "Have you seen Chainsaw Man?" She's like, it's.
Because
the
if you haven't, you
best.
should.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
When if you look out into the crowd, cosplay is a huge part of conventions as well. I'm curious, there has to be cosplay. You have to have seen cosplays of Denji and Aki and Power. What were your reactions the first time you ever saw any cosplay of that character that you portrayed? I mean, I have to imagine it's surreal.
Oh, let me go.
You sure?
Okay. So when we first got cast, I went to a convention after, and we couldn't, talk about it for a month until it all had been released. And immediately there was a Power cosplayer with their friend that came up to my booth, and I had to be like, I like your cosplay. It's pretty cool.
Oh, you didn't.
And then I started seeing Chainsaw Man stuff all on the booths too, wallets. I'm like, I can't buy it. They'll be on to me probably. I changed my name on Etsy to make sure nobody knows. They're never gonna find me.
What about you?
Oh, geez, that must have been at Emerald City way back in the day. That was my first ever convention, and I'm just sitting there at my booth for the first time. I'm just like, I remember being on the other side of this thing not too long ago. What am I doing here? And then you see the guy in the Aki wig coming up here, and I'm just like, oh right, this is an actual thing. I love when my mom, bless her, she wants to be so supportive, but she does not do like gore or anything like that. And so she tried watching the first couple episodes. She's just like, I'm so sorry, but I wish you luck in playing Aki.
She said that's a no from me, though.
To this day, she says Aki.
Aki. Aki. It sounds like she's like mad at him. Like, what did you do? Aki, did you get into the ice cream tub again?
No.
Aki.
So I remember first when I first started doing conventions, it was because I played a character in My Hero Academia, and I started to go around to a couple of cons. And at the time, you know, the Chainsaw Man manga was already massively popular, so I was just already fawning over, like, because people were cosplaying just when the manga was out, you know, like there was artwork everywhere and there were cosplays everywhere. So I'm just sitting at my table, like, freaking out over people in the Chainsaw Man cosplays. This is before the show was even a thing. And then, like, a year and change later, when I actually went to some of the same places, and some of the people that had cosplayed the year before, they came and they were like, "Did you know?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know." You know? But I can genuinely say that, like, I still react the same way now that I do from the first time I saw a cosplay.
Anytime
like,
you see anybody
I
cosplay.
lose my mind. Because one, I mean, it's so intricate and detailed and gnarly.
Yeah.
But you know, and we've all seen, like, from the scale of, like, dudes who are, like, mechanical engineers, where you're like, that could be in a movie tomorrow, to, you know, kids where it's, like, duct taped together and it's cardboard, and, like, to me they're equally as impressive and mind-blowing, and, like, I have the same visceral response, because wherever your skill set is at, your passion, the time, all the energy put into this thing, that is, like, such an expression of love and connection to a character. And I get, like, so emotional over it. So I freak out every time. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm still I mean, I get blown away, yeah, by anybody that cosplay. I've only done it once or twice myself.
Who have you cosplayed as?
So I cosplayed, the first time I ever cosplayed, I actually went as Shredder from the original TMNT. I think
Ryan
I
almost choked.
With the purple cape?
with the purple cape. I think I have a picture on my phone. I might show you.
For those of you,
Bold
Nice.
first choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
but what a cool dude! That helmet. When I was a kid, I wanted that helmet so bad.
God.
It was made out of a Darth Vader helmet that I took the mask
That's so
off.
smart.
And then I used foam for the blades and everything on the back too.
As a New Yorker, the Turtles have a very special place in my heart.
Yeah,
So.
and it was so weird because I know you cosplayers probably get it as well. I was simply I wanted to try it. I went to the convention. I walked around in it, but the number of times I got stopped and asked for pictures, I'm like, I was not expecting this part of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of loved it.
Yeah, you become a rock star.
Yeah. So I haven't done anything since, but I might do something again at some point
You have
later
to.
on. So,
Amazing.
you know, as I mentioned, I'm new to the series. I watched it. I banged out the first season. I don't know how much you can talk about it. Are there any rumors?
the ending-
Okay. No. Are there any plans or rumors or what do you know of information about a season 2? I do know there is a movie coming out. What can you talk about that?
We
What
can
you
talk
tell us
about the
that?
movie that's coming out.
Sure, let's do it.
Because we don't know anything more anyway.
No.
And even if we did, we wouldn't tell you because
fair as well.
There's Mappa Daddy
There's
will hurt
people
us.
watching everywhere.
Papa.
Yeah, Papa Mappa. Papa Mappa he will come down and smite us.
We've seen what happened to Tom Holland.
He's Tom Belgium now.
That one actually took me a second.
Yeah.
That's good.
We can tell you that the movie is going to be part of the actual story. It's going to pick up where the show left off, and the story will continue after it, we assume. It is one of my favorite parts of just the entire series.
Same.
It is so beautiful and tragic and it's just so Chainsaw Man. It's Chainsaw Man condensed into like a 90-minute time frame. There is such amazing development for Denji, for Aki. Sorry, Power.
I did something.
That
There was a little development. There was a bit of developing.
Get hype. is all I can say. You guys are going to be you're going to be absolutely blown away.
Yeah, I've been nerding out with a couple of you about it who've read ahead, and the story for those, like, we refuse to spoil anything, but for those of you who've only experienced the show and those 12 episodes, the only thing I can really say to get you prepared is that's the most tame and normal that the show will ever be. From here on out, just hold on.
You could even call that normal.
Yeah.
I'm again, for somebody who's new to anime like myself, I wonder if you can talk a little bit about the dubbing process itself, because I'm curious. I'm sure it's different for different animes for different properties, but what's like the time frame between the time that the Japanese is done to the time that you guys dub the U.S. versions? Are you guys allowed to adjust or improvise, or is it purely by script? What's a little bit more of the process behind the scenes of doing it?
Depends on what you're working on. If you're working on a comedy type anime, you can do a lot of improv in those. But there's a lot of times where they don't really want you to stray too far from the script, or
'Cause we got lip movements to match.
and we also have lip movements. And I think Chainsaw Man is one of those where we weren't allowed to improvise too much, but we could adjust the way that we said certain things.
Well, yeah, because when you're doing the U.S. dub, the animation is already done, so you have to pretty much be right by the script.
And we're very big about making sure that words happen when the mouth is moving and stop when the mouth is closed.
We want it to feel like it's connected to their bodies, But we're also really lucky that, for the first season, Jessica Slice, who wrote it, is an absolute powerhouse. And, the source material itself is just so good that, like, we're not going to make it better. It's already, it is what it is, What Sarah means as far as, like, improvising within it is, like, how you say a thing, the intention, the energy you put in it, the inflection, the little, flavors and seasonings you could put within the line. That's where you get to play. But, it's hard to get a better idea than, you put the dick in predictable, or, like, the lines are just so well written. The story is so well written, and it's way more about, to me, like, the idea of, like, improving for the sake of being like, got one, like, that's such an ego move, and it's so much more about, like, wanting to be like, look what I did, versus, like, what does the character need and what does the story need? And like Sarah said, in comedy, it's a lot more broad. There is a lot more room and intentionally to play with that. And especially when you have a cultural barrier, sometimes you need to kind of shift it for it to make sense. But Chainsaw Man is, like, deeply Western in a lot of ways, so it's already kind of all there. And it's really just about being as, like, present and serviceable to the characters. But, Mike, our director, was very, very, like, adamant about letting us, like, play in spaces and trying to find things, even if it was, like, little bits. Like, there's a moment, when Denji gets asked, during breakfast with Himino, and she's like, do you really want to get with Miss Makima? And he's like, yes. That, as tiny as that is, like, we played with that a lot to get it to be that right feeling. But, you don't need to mess with the words too much.
I just want to do a reminder, too, if anybody does have any questions for any of these guys, there is the microphone right in the center. Please feel free to step up. But going real quick, just piggybacking off of that and how you said, like, you want to try and stay as loyal as possible to the source material. Have there ever been any challenges in maybe, because we talk about how much emotion there is in some of these characters, has there ever been a time where it's been challenging where maybe you're trying to do the dialogue and you're trying to do the dubbing yourself, but you yourself feel like you're just not getting this right? You're not portraying what you feel.
The emotion or something?
Yeah, you're not hitting the emotion itself. Like, has that happened to you often over the course of doing this, and how do you usually handle something like that?
I mean, it definitely can happen. I think I can't think of anything, like, off the top of my head. In the first season, we don't really get too much into the stuff that Denji really has to deal with. But I definitely would go into the sessions in a particular headspace so that I could be really, like, vulnerable and raw to, like, just be able to, like, kind of pivot emotionally. I don't know. I think. I mean, I'm lucky that like I think about this manga and I can cry. Like like it's really easy to tap into for me because I really resonate with it. But there are times, not even necessarily on this show, but in general, like where because I think we all care so much about anything that we're doing that you have a standard for yourself of what you want to be able to give, and sometimes you have it like in your head. You can hear it in your head, and then you let it out and you're like, that wasn't it.
That's not what I was going for.
Yeah, and like
I have to be like to the director. I'm like, hey, that's not what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
well, and sometimes you'll do a thing and the director's like, great, moving on, and
I was
it's
like, oh, wait, oh.
and there's a battle in you where you're like, do I let it go or do I do I ask for one more?
Because I'll have it in my head, like if it's bad enough to me, I'm like, and I know that's going out forever. I'm like, I will not be able to sleep tonight or for the rest of my life.
No, it will.
Let me
like,
fix this, please, mercy. You have to help me.
All right, we do have a couple people lined up. Let's get some questions. What's your name and what's your question?
My name's Robert. Just wanted to ask what your guys' favorite scenes are so far.
so hard.
It is. I think I like the smart scene where they try to go up against Kishibe after being murdered a million times.
Yeah, that's good.
That is pretty phenomenal.
I love it so much. That was that was the scene. So it's the same scene, same episode as
The training.
Well, yeah, the episode the episode where Aki's in the hospital, and I had to be in a very dark headspace for that. But after it was over, Mike just was like, "Hey, Mike, you okay?" Like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Do you want to see Denji and Power die a lot? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yes. I would say my favorite scene is the opening of episode 12 because at this point Aki is getting choked out by the ghost devil, and then it fades to black, so Aki is dying, and at this point Aki, the character, seems to have been just so defined by his pain and his anger, and so you would normally think, oh, this is when the character remembers what he's fighting for, and his he remembers his vendetta, and he'll burst forth in a burst of shonen protagonist energy and just defeat the thing. But instead he starts thinking about Himeno and the first time she shares a cigarette with him, and that's when the ghost devil drops him, and he explains the ghost devil's perception is based on fear. So there came a point where Aki was not afraid anymore. He was obviously brave enough to fight the devil itself, but he wasn't. He didn't have the. He was still so afraid of being vulnerable and of needing someone else. And it was in that moment that's also when the ghost devil gives him the easy revenge cigarette, and that's. It ties into Himeno's own fears. I think she contracts with the ghost devil because she has a fear of being forgotten and of not mattering to anyone. That's why she says, "You'd best not die on me, Aki. When I die, I want you to cry for me." And it's such a wonderful metaphor for how, even if we are very complicated people who sometimes do some questionable things, we can still have such an impact on people that we will never even realize. And that's what I think is so beautiful about Chainsaw Man, is that you start off with that incredibly poignant scene, and then you end with Denji and Aki kicking a guy in the balls over and over, and it's still just as tear-jerking.
It is so hard to narrow it down, but I think if I'm thinking just pure raw emotion, especially after thinking about when I show it to friends or other people and kind of watching it through their eyes, Denji's, in the first episode, Denji's death and rebirth is such a cathartic and visceral thing that I still feel really connected to the speech when he comes out of the dumpster and the realization of just about what he's trying to look for in his life and what other people are grasping at, and the search for it all and the meaninglessness or meaning of what it all means, and his own value, and also while processing like the only thing or person or creature or anything that's ever given him any like genuine love like completely gave itself over for him to have an opportunity, and like all of that just compounded in those moments is so beautiful and cathartic and upsetting and empowering, and like I think that's got to be it.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Robert. Hello.
What's your name and what's your question?
Hello, my name is Nicholas, and I was wondering if your character could pick a song for karaoke, what would it be and why?
If you could pick a song for karaoke for
If your character
could pick a song
had to
for
sing
karaoke.
a karaoke song.
Oh.
Oh, Power would sing "Break Stuff" by Limp Bizkit.
There you go.
And then when it comes to the I pack a chainsaw part, she would just drag Denji on stage.
I love it.
It works so well. I knew that.
Oh gosh. Okay. I feel like he'd be a Nirvana fan.
Absolutely.
Maybe. Maybe Bloom. He might
That's a
like Bloom.
good one. I think he would be really into like
California
Aqua's
girls.
Barbie girl. Yeah, it's gonna be something like super bubblegummy and poppy,
Yeah.
where he just like
He's
he
like,
can
"This
feel
my
alive.
song."
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 100%. That or Who Let the Dogs Out?
Yeah. Then Power would really love it because of all of the suffering in the room.
Thanks
you.
for your question. All right, we have about 5 minutes left, but we have two people, so let's see if we can get through both questions before we get out of here.
Hi,
Yo.
my name is Jeff. Well, obviously not for Chainsaw Man because you're already fans, but for like other series you've voiced, have you ever spoiled yourself or read ahead just to see where the character ends up to prepare your performance?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I haven't done that, but I have been spoiled by the director.
Betrayal. Top 10 anime
Clifford
betrayals.
Chapin. I'll never forget this. Years ago, right when it started, too.
That's funny because usually directors
rotten,
will like
rotten man.
they'll usually ask you, like they're like, do you want to know?
No, nah, he's not about that life.
Who was it?
It was Clifford.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's for Dr. Stone. Nasty. But if it wasn't him, it was gonna be Aaron too, because he was reading the manga and he's like, Sarah, look. I'm like, you're both terrible.
Sometimes I just flip through manga just to watch my character and just be like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. Please give me job security for a little while.
You just go to the character wiki and you go to like status. Yeah. Honestly, more often than not, I like to let myself kind of be surprised. Because also the other thing is, like, in a lot of these types of projects, when it's, fantasy or high, whatever, like, you die and then, like, who knows if you're actually dead? Like, sometimes you die and you're like, oh, shit. And then, like, 2 seasons later, they're like, turns out you're the main villain. And you come back and you're like, wow, cool, So I like to be surprised, as much as I can.
Yeah. Turns out he was absorbing nutrients from the mycelium
Turns out
network.
he was just
actually, the whole
really
time.
tired.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, final question. A lot of pressure.
Hi, I'm Cassidy.
Hi, Cassidy.
My question is, if you have a manga that doesn't have an anime adaptation, would you like to voice act in it? Either
like,
that.
is there one in mind? Like,
Yeah, if you have one in mind, or if you don't have one, then you can just do like your dream voice job, whether that be in a game, anime, already done, that kind of stuff.
I've been saying this over and over again, but if I could be a Korok in The Legend of Zelda just once.
There is no one more qualified, let's be
Yeah, true. Do it.
Thank you.
Do it.
Yeah.
honest. See, that was perfect. There's some ones that I don't want to jinx. I've been really getting into Warhammer 40,000 recently, and if any of y'all know who Fulgrim is, I really want to play him.
Yes.
You don't know who that is, do you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wait, yes, you do.
Aaron plays it all the time.
Oh, that's
I
right.
hear everything. I see everything.
I have this really weird obsession with Nightcrawler from X-Men. I don't know why. I think that would be so much freaking fun. And the other side of the coin is Denji was it. Denji was the only time I have ever read a thing and been like, oh my god, like you're my guy, and also didn't think it would happen. So
you got to touch boobs, and now you get to figure out the rest of your life.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
It's so funny that you even
manifesting.
And it's so funny that you even mentioned that because again, having watched it for the first time, that was at that moment I was like, what am I watching with this? But just sticking with it, and I was like, okay, like yeah, there's so much more to it than just touching boobs, as you said.
I have gone on so many rants about this. I got to defend my boy so often. And it's complex because it's not like he's perfect. He's definitely a horny kid, but at the same time he is so deeply layered, and because he's had no affection, no education, he doesn't know how to express the depth of his feelings. And I've talked about this with you, some of you guys, but Denji saying to himself, he never goes up to a woman and goes, "I want to touch your boobs," right? That's insane.
Yeah.
But for him to say it to himself, we know that what he's saying is God, it would be nice for someone to care about me. If only someone could see me and feel
he's a really good example of abuse as a kid, and how it's so hard for people growing up in that way to form love.
Connections. Yeah,
they don't know how to do it, and they tend to go in a way that doesn't.
It's
really
all the
get them there.
extremes. He's constantly, that meme of the dude with the butterfly and the two things, and he's like, "Is this?"
Is this love?
Yeah,
touching titty.
Everything that Denji is going through, every person that comes into his life and manipulates him or puts a thought into his head, he's learning all of this stuff for the first time as a developing teenager with raging hormones, and he's like, "Is this affection? Is this friendship? Is this love? Is this how I'm supposed to be treated? Is this my value?" All of these things are things he's constantly trying to process without even fully understanding what he's processing. So it's the dude's got a lot going on while also being this little fucking rat gutter punk, so it's my favorite,
That was the best explanation so far.
Right? He's gonna eat your
Little
cigarette.
Rat Gutter Punk. That's the next band name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've talked about this before, but my favorite interaction, my favorite way that Denji and Aki start breaking the ice is when Aki saves him with the fox devil, and he wakes up in the hospital, and he's making him bunny apple slices. And then when Aki is in the hospital, just in the absolute depths of despair, Denji notices that and leaves him an apple.
Yeah.
And then walks out, turns back around, and realizes Aki is crying. He doesn't feel sad himself, and he's like, "Am I incapable of affection?" It's like, "No, you just did it."
Yeah.
My sweet baby, no.
Yeah, and that's why we love him, because we're like, fuck, man, I also know feelings are complicated, and it's my boy. Yeah, we all navigate stuff like this all the time. We're second guessing ourselves. We're trying to understand our own value in all these different ways, and there's a lot to learn from even Denji's mistakes and his process of going through this, in love yourself more, value yourself more, trust yourself more, and know that you are worthy of good things, because you all are.
I can't think of a better way to end it than with that. You guys have a fan in me now that I've watched it. Thank you guys.
We got him.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys so much for being here this weekend. How about one more huge round of applause?
Thank you guys.
For my guests. If you haven't already, make sure you go to their tables, meet them, talk to them, and just say hi. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.